Thank you for joining our Power of Data Week webinar. We will be beginning shortly, so if you please bear with us, we will start on time. So thank you for joining us for the first of 5 parts in our Power of Data Week. We'll be demonstrating the power of data visualization, showcasing some of the powerful capabilities that Microsoft's Power BI platform has to bring. This first webinar is aimed to bring an introduction to data visualization, how it can be used effectively to help you make more intelligent business critical decisions. And then throughout the week, we'll be going through a number of different Power BI demos aimed at different departments, all different departments in a business with different context examples to give you an idea of how each department can benefit from Power BI in their own specific way. My name is Christopher Shanks. I'm Head of Technology within First Digital, and I am probably our resident technology evangelist. I love technology as long as it has a purpose. I take great pleasure in demonstrating the art of the possible to our clients so that they can, I suppose, begin to understand what is available to them and how they can maximise the solutions for their own benefit. We are a Microsoft certified company, and we do prefer using their technology to maximise the investment that businesses are already making into their subscriptions. I myself am certified in a couple of areas, and growing my knowledge in the Power Platform, of which Power BI is in the platform. It can be an extremely powerful resource to a business, and I think I've been overwhelmed the response we've had in workshops. I did one recently, a data visualization workshop with a client, and they couldn't believe that they'd not heard of Power BI and didn't know the power it can bring and how effective it can be. And safe to say, they by the time I'd walked back to my office, they'd given us a purchase order to go ahead and do the work with them, which was very exciting. So I guess the first thing we need to do is agree on the definition of data visualization. And it's a technique partnered with the right software to help people understand complex data. Businesses have lots of data that they capture and could capture, and it's about having the capacity to put that in front of people to understand. We can integrate kind of large data sets or multiple data sets from multiple platforms, and then with some understanding as to the key metrics and performance indicators that you'd like to see, that you need to see, we can create infographics, graphs, creative charts, and visuals that help you find patterns and trends and kind of deep dive into that data. I think really it's about creating a data-driven culture within a business, and really bringing that culture onto everyone so that not just the leadership team, but kind of a layered accountability model. Everyone understands what they're accountable for, what their job role is, and giving them that information so that they don't have any shocks or surprises and they know whether they're on track or not. And seeing it visually is usually easy to understand. I think a lot of people are visual learners, and when you're trying to see patterns, just seeing numbers on a page is much more difficult than seeing the lines or the bar charts to represent what they mean. Something we always try to agree on and encourage is the 2 golden rules of dashboards and reporting. Firstly, that you should be able to understand, within reason, any dashboard or report within about 90 seconds if it's been designed to be a high-level informational dashboard. You want to be able to understand and process the information on screen really quickly. Yes, we can create more detailed, in-depth dashboards for kind of interrogation purposes, but on a very high level, if you can look at a dashboard and understand what it's telling you in a couple of minutes, then you can get on with back to work, and you've interpreted that, which is the purpose of the visualization. Following on from that, the second golden rule is that a dashboard should really tell you where to look or not to look. So a great example of that is if you imagine a business owner with multiple sites wanting to ensure that all of their sites are working well, that their business owner wants to see 5 big green boxes, 1 per site, and then as long as all of their sites are meeting their targets and within a margin of error, he can carry on with his day, carry on running his business, going to his meetings. Now, if he turns up and this dashboard maybe has an amber number, one of the sites is underperforming, maybe they've had a slow morning, he can be aware of the problem, know that his team are dealing with it, and check back up on it later. However, if he turns on this dashboard and there's a big red number flashing at him, he knows that there's a serious problem and that he can call that site manager, call that team leader, understand what the consequences of that problem are, and look to getting that back on track, all without having to call anyone, because that live information is being fed to him in a way that he understands. Whenever we talk about data visualization, again, we often refer to 4 pillars of data visualization. And the first one is data capture and collection of data. We always have to understand where your data is coming from. How are we going to collect it? Is it through third-party software or your line of business applications? Is it through your users directly with an app? And without this step, I guess there is no data for us to process. So we can't create those meaningful dashboards and KPIs because we don't have anything to analyze, to find patterns upon. The second pillar is the storage element. So the data is normally stored in your third-party software, and all we do is go and read that information. In certain situations, it might be that we store that as a data set and create our own database. But once again, in the best common situations, we should be pulling that data live, so that if anything updates, the Power BI and the visualizations update with it. The third pillar is the visual representation or the presentation of that data, and that's really the bit that we're all interested in. It's that meaningful way to allow the reader to have a grasp of what the dashboard is trying to portray, and it can be very individual to each user depending on that level of accountability, as I mentioned, and they all have their different KPIs that they're interested in seeing. And the third phase is kind of the art form, I suppose, that it will need. We run a data visualization workshop where we encourage the understanding of dashboards and, which metrics will look good together, which graph will suit the number that you're trying to portray. And the design is what really makes it user-friendly and wants someone to actually go and check that on a daily basis and kind of not get bored of it or sick of it because it's not giving them what they need. The fourth pillar is an optional one and probably the most advanced of the 4. And this is where we can use artificial intelligence and process automation to react to the patterns we may find. And I suppose we've got a bit of an example of this kind of action pillar here, which would be a production line that uses IoT and sensors. So we can record the output of the machines, for instance, maybe the temperature of the machine, maybe a humidity sensor, maybe a vibration or a sound sensor. And we can turn that into a dashboard to show a shift leader the productivity. Maybe the maintenance manager wants to know the current status of that machine, and maybe the business owner wants to know a top-down view of how that machine and productivity is performing. If the data visualization finds trends that perhaps negatively demonstrate that the machine may be beginning to fail, maybe it's got a slower output, it's increased in temperature, maybe there's a noise due to something rattling, we can link that to the maintenance schedule of that machine and the parts that it uses and start to create an artificial intelligence driven preventative maintenance. So once the pattern's been found, we can perhaps create a maintenance task so that the engineer is aware of the pending failure. We can schedule some downtime. It might be that then we go as far as the automation ordering the parts. Now, nobody wants a machine kind of ordering parts on their own free will, so it would have to be part of a structured and working practice. But it's just an example of how once a trend has been found and the artificial intelligence has learnt about that data, it can create these automotive actions so that you're not waiting for a failure, you're planning the maintenance so that you can continue in that production environment. So when working with data visualization, our preference, because we use Microsoft so much, is the Microsoft Power Platform, of which Power BI is the tool of choice. Anyone with a business can benefit from good dashboarding and data visualization, from sales to finance, marketing to operations. And I guess we prefer Power BI because it natively integrates with lots of other business tools and resources. It's really easy for collaboration and communication on the patterns it finds. You can pull it into Teams. You can talk about it and have comments. We can embed it into web pages. It has a really simple licensing plan. There are only there are 2 main per user licenses, and then there's a kind of per tenant capacity license. Information from Power BI can be passed to all the other parts of Microsoft 365, so Power Automate, Excel, Outlook, Word, PDFs. So we can do a lot with this information once we've found these patterns and data and enrich the data further. And it's easy for someone with, I guess, little to no knowledge to get started with Power BI. You can start to create basic visualizations, but to get the most insightful reports and dashboards, you probably need someone that can navigate Power BI quite well. You also probably need someone in the business that's quite analytical to work out which visualizations were going to be most impactful, designed to the user that's going to be viewing them, as I mentioned, just to create that kind of dashboard for dashboard's sake. And that's where we would come in, we'd work with you, we'd go through the data visualization workshop with one of our business analysts, and our goal really is to have that workshop to understand what your business goals are. Why is dashboard and reporting required? We'd go through the 4 pillars so that you understand where the data is coming from, where is it going to be stored, how are we accessing it, is there any automations that we can do, and then once we've done that data visualization workshop, we could then start to put a plan of how we'd build the visualizations and the dashboards and put a project together. Coming up for the rest of the week, for those that would like to join us, we are focusing on supercharging your sales. So for any sales teams that want to learn more about how you can see the metrics of selling, opportunities, forecasting, that one will be for you. On the Wednesday, it's fast financial reporting. So for all of the accountants, where we deep dive into looking at such things like ends of year, variance to budget. We can do some what-if analysis. For Thursday, it's optimizing your operation. So once again, kind of that production, factory, shop floor environment, looking at how efficient we are, looking at what's waiting, where stock is moving. And then on the Friday, it's for creative ones, it's for making the most of your marketing spend, so looking at the effectiveness of your marketing strategy within Power BI. It should be a really exciting week. They're all about 15 minutes long, so I do hope you can make them. So this was just a really brief introduction, I appreciate, to data visualization and Power BI. Hopefully it's kind of whet your appetite so that you want to come back for more and see more of what it can do. Do join us for the rest of the data week. If you've got any questions, you can reach out to me through chris.shanks@firstdigital.co.uk, or we do have some information about Power BI and the rest of the Power Platform on our website, which is www.firstdigital.co.uk.